The Bamboo Project podcast starts in 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Bamboo Project podcast. My name is Donovan Gray, the future $10 billion man. On the way to 10 billion, I decided I'm going to help create 1,000 millionaires, including myself. And not by being a guru or selling a course, but by doing the things I already love to do every day and documenting my journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is Donovan Gray, and this is how I will turn my life into a living. We made different playlists for all the things we are into, and you can find each of those links in the description box below. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 4, page 13. And today's date is June 14th, and it is 12:47 p.m. Now, before we get into the topics of the day, we always start off with screen time, okay? And that is when I check my phone so I can see how much time I've spent on it every single day last week. Every day last week, I spent an average of 7 hours and 51 minutes on my phone each day. And that's down from the week before, which was 8 hours and 44 minutes every day. My most used app was YouTube for 10 hours and 20 minutes. Then it was Twitter for 8 hours and 25 minutes. And then it was Instagram for 7 hours and 54 minutes. Every day I picked up my phone on average 139 times per day. And my most used app after pickup was Instagram. Now on to the subscriber check. So for the Candle channel, go follow that, Ember Candle Co. We are at 410 subscribers. And I just saw something recently that said that they're going to lower the monetization number from 1,000 to 500. I was hyped and excited at first, and then I realized that it wasn't for ad revenue. It was for like stickers and like super thanks and stuff like that. So we still have 490 more subscribers to go until, 590 more subscribers to go until we are at 1,000 subscribers. And on our main channel, we are currently at 6,526 subscribers. All right, so as y'all can see by the title, we have some news in regards to the house. So at this point in time, it seems official that we have lost the house. It seems like at this point, there's no really way of getting it back unless somebody knows of another thing that we can do. We tried the insurance way, and I got a call from the insurance agent, maybe like, I don't know, 2 days ago, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. It was right after I posted last week's podcast, and they pretty much said like, hey, the contract says if the house is vacant for more than 60 days, then that voids the insurance. And what they consider to be vacant, I guess, is once the house is fully renovated and is habitable, and then 60 days from that day, I'm assuming, is when they consider it to be that's when the vacant number starts. So we put the house on the market last year in like August, a lot of y'all know. And then after that, it just sat. The market dropped off a cliff immediately. As when we put the house on the market, the whole real estate economy, at least where we were at, I think for the most part, more or less just collapsed. There was very good interest rates before, and then they were doing, from what I believe, back in the day, maybe like, and I say back in the day, in the last 3 to 5 years, you were able to buy with like less than 2% interest for a house. And then it shot up to 7, 9, and that's like the base, like the bottom was 7, 9. So if you didn't have good credit, you were pretty much paying more than that. Like that was for people who had good credit. So As soon as we put on the market, they rose the interest rates and people stopped buying. And then we finally got an offer on the house. Everything was more or less going good. And then it got broken into not one, not two, not three, not four times. Honestly, it might have been more than that. I'm pretty much losing count, to be honest. It's a really bad feeling just because this is how my brain works. This was supposed to happen. And at this point in time, I don't know why it was supposed to happen. I can't tell you why. I think that too many things went wrong for it to be something that we were supposed to do. Like it's like we were fighting this crazy uphill battle to finally get to the top of the hill, and then the most uncontrollable thing that we have zero influence on, at least with the house, we have some influence on when it gets renovated, you know, what's inside the house, where we buy it, how much we pay for different materials, those kind of things we have influence on. So we can kind of manipulate the house to get it, you know, faster than somebody else might want it to be done, or things like that, or at a lower cost. There's different things in that way. The federal government raising the interest rate, there's zero influence that we have on that. And the house took us a year and a half. Is it a year and a half? Yeah, about a year and a half to renovate. It's 18 months to renovate a single family 2-story house row home in Philadelphia, which is about 1,000 square feet. Took us a year and a half to renovate that. We went through hell and high water to get the house renovated, going out there, building a fence ourselves. I think we even slept in Philadelphia a couple of times, not in the house, but like in Philly, to make sure the house is done, bringing flooring in a U-Haul truck, driving it, going to multiple Home Depots to pick up all the flooring, and then driving all the way out there. And as I'm talking, right, there's probably like another 6 YouTube videos we never put out. That we went out there, we recorded a lot of the process of what we were doing, and it just got to a point where it was more important for us to get the house done, and I forgot, and do other things than it was to put the YouTube videos up. We were doing Turo at the time, the candles were coming up, it was a lot of things that were coming up in that time period, so those videos never went out. So they're gonna go out at some point. I don't know when. When we get a lot more money, we can hire somebody to edit it, because I don't see myself going back to get the footage and edit it personally, just because we're currently doing weekly vlogs. So to do a weekly vlog, then go back and try to find that footage, which is, you know, like I said, another 7, 8, 9 videos. It doesn't really make sense for me to put my time into that. But there were so many things that we tried to do to get the house finished. We had even considered putting a refrigerator on top of a dolly and walking it like half a mile to the house, because we didn't really have the money to pay someone to go and bring it over there. Luckily, one of my dad's friends has a house he renovated in Philadelphia, and he was able to put it on his truck to get it out there. And like I said, there are so many stories of all the things that we tried to do to get the house done. I even remember when my uncle had recommended us to get what these they're called dog doors, DAWGS, for anybody that's renovating a house. They're vacant. I forgot what the D stands for, but I know it's DAWGS. It's something with vacant housing. I can't remember the exact what the acronym stands for, but we put it on the house only to find out that it was damaging the door hinge. It was damaging the door, it was damaging the walkway, it was damaging the wall. So we had gotten it removed at the time, right? Even during that time, somebody had broken or stole toilets from the house. They stole, I think, some faucets. And like I keep saying, there were so many things that I felt like happened for the house not to be renovated. We had a person who lived across the street We went to her house. We've stayed over, not like stayed a long time. We had conversation with her in the living room, have her number. Someone in her family had gotten sick, and she had went to go take care of them in another state. I think it was Phoenix or something like that, right? Or I guess it could be Arizona. The time that she was away, she was out lookout. That was the time that someone broke into the house. So it's like, we even had, at some point, someone was going to rent the house. And we were like, damn, their credit not looking real good right now. Like, should we really rent to them? We're not really sure this is what we want to do. One of the issues that we had at the time was getting the house refinanced, right? And I think back in about August, because that monthly payment was killing us. It was killing us. And it was so... the more I think about it, the more I keep like going back and realizing like the downward, I don't know if I could call it a downward spiral, but kind of like how many blocks or dominoes had to fall for this to go as bad as it did. And every domino fell because our Torrie video that we had posted, right? It was doing really well. And from the YouTube channel, we were getting like $1,500 to $1,800 a month. And that was covering the expense for the house. That dropped off. So now we're probably getting like $400, $500 or whatever for the house. So now we're like, okay, how can we figure out money to figure out to pay for the mortgage so we don't lose the house? Instead of putting our money towards the credit cards, we're like, okay, we're going to put all the money into the house. We're going to keep paying this mortgage every single month so that the house doesn't get lost, doesn't get foreclosed on. So we sacrifice our credit to then keep the house going, right? Only for us to then not be able to refinance because our credit was too low. And then we had we had the person come to try and rent it. Their credit wasn't very good. We had multiple break-ins. We had contractors more or less disappearing. We had undercapitalization for the house. The list goes on and on and on and on of things that between us starting the project and us finishing the project. So like I said, I think it was a crazy situation, and the only thing that I see that came from is the candles. I think I'm gonna always be good. Like I never think that I'm gonna end up in a bad situation, and if I am in one, I'm gonna get out of it and end up better. So would I have been doing candles if the house had got renovated? Probably not. Like if the house went the way it was supposed to be, I'll be doing something else right now. But I still feel like I would be in a better position now than when I was when I first bought the house. And when we first bought the house, we had no income. We had no way of making money. And at that time, I don't even think the Torrie video even came out yet. So YouTube wasn't even paying us that much. It was like a couple $100 a month. And it was just, that was when the biking stopped. So where we're at now is much better than where we were at then. And we had to go through the chaotic last 2 years to get there. It's not really much, like I said, left to do with the house unless somebody has some type of suggestion. They sent us a letter in the mail about proceeding with the foreclosure last week. That's when I then got the email saying, or the phone call from the insurance agent saying, hey guys, I'm sorry, but there is nothing I can really do for y'all. So, have a good day though. It's just like, well. And I think it's funny because when he was talking to me, I guess he wanted me to be more emotional about it, but it's like, I don't know, because he was saying it as if he was expecting me to yell at him. He was like, all right, so there's nothing I could do about the house because the insurance says. I'm like, bro, if the contract say that is say, then I'm not about to hire a lawyer. We tried that route before when we had the Philadelphia thing, because I don't know if y'all remember that. Some of y'all don't even. There's people who are watching this podcast right now who don't even know the Philadelphia Airbnb story. The last, week or so, Melissa and I it's been coming up in conversation where kind of more or less the same topic. How 95% of the people that watch us on 99% people that watch us on the Candle channel have no idea what we went through before the candle channel. Absolutely no idea. The fact that we had a 3-family triplex under contract to do Airbnb in Philadelphia, only for, mind you, we bought all the stuff, brought it all the way out there to Philadelphia, right? Had it delivered in front of the house. We get to the house, furniture is coming that day and the next day. For the owner of the house to have his guy, some random guy, call us and say, yeah, this is not gonna work, sorry about that. The more I talk about it, the more and more things come up. I just have to laugh at it, because you gotta just roll with the punches. You gotta take the blow that you get, and just keep moving forward. And like I said, if we're gonna take 4 steps forward and 3 steps back, we still took a step forward. And I feel like that's kind of how our situation has been. We're not in a great position, but I would rather be where I am now than where I was at before, when I was riding my bike and they lowered the price that they paid us from $20 a ride to $1 a ride. Like, I don't want to be there, because I feel like at that point it's like I'm trapped. That to me is a cycle I don't want to be in, which is why even with the candles, I'm trying to fight against this cycle of just having enough money to get to the next craft fair, because it's a never-ending cycle. Next thing you know, it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and you're like, damn, how did this happen? So that's a lot of kind of what I'm focusing on right now, because a lot of people, I feel like I see a lot of people in a situation, especially as a bike messenger, where you're making just enough money that is more than most people, but not enough money to get out of the situation that you're in. So like I said, that's not where I want to be. I want to have enough to get out of our current situation, have a new apartment, have multiple bedrooms, have more space, have more peace of mind. Those are the things I'm fighting for now with the candles. And one thing I did find interesting, and I haven't really pursued it because I don't really know what to pursue it as or what would even be the situation. But once the contract was canceled by the buyer, I really have not even heard from my agent. And my understanding would be we would just put the house on the market as a renovation and somebody will come and buy it. That's my understanding. That at this point today, it is June 14th at 1:07 p.m. The house chapter is, in my mind, I'm gonna say 99% closed. The only reason why I'm saying that is because they're probably gonna send us letters about foreclosing. But take the house at this point. What do you want me to do with you? And honestly, right, they gave us $167K for the house. I don't even know. I feel like you still could, if they could even sell the house for that much. I mean, we paid them $1,500 a month for damn near 2 years, so they already up. Anyways, if they sell the house for $167, that's 30 something K, almost 50K they got from us, all for just the mortgage. So, bro, I just thought about how we even came up with that money from using the merchant cash advances. Like I said, we was hustling to figure it out. We figured it out, and then boom, gone. Up until now, this should probably be the last thing y'all really hear about the house. Y'all got any questions, hit me up. Shout out to my guy Torrie. He is probably, I can't even say probably, I'm trying to think of all the people I know in real estate personally. He has to be the most successful person that I've seen or know that does real estate, that's had like the best experiences when it comes to real estate. Most people I know that have done real estate, they've had the worst experiences. They either lose a lot of money, they end up hating real estate, they don't make a lot of money, they feel like they waste a lot of time doing it. So he has finessed, bro, like I said, he has finessed buying 7 different lots 7 in a span of less than a year. I think before this, he might have bought in 1 or maybe 2 properties. He told me, we talking yesterday on the phone, he had said he had bought one like in a different state for like less than 10 grand and then sold it for less than 10 grand. Like that was his intro into real estate. Like I said, now he went to a conference, learned about new development, learned how to get the process down right, and is killing it. And honestly, I would say this too. I think of all the people I know, he is probably also because I'm gonna say it and it's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. A lot of people are trying to get money. A lot of people want to get money. A lot of people talk about getting money. He is the only person I know that's actually doing the things. Like, it has been through the I'm trying to figure it out and has done the stuff multiple times. A lot of people, like I said, they're still trying to, like, they might have a store that they have. They might be selling clothing. They might be selling real estate. They might be doing medical school. Like, there's a lot of different things that people might be in, but they have not gotten to the part, like the other side of it. So he's the first person I've seen get to the other side of, like, I guess I call it entrepreneurship. So he has passed the struggling to figure it out phase and has, I would say, even eclipsed the building phase. And now it's more about scaling. It's like, okay, I have a foundation now. I'm going to build top of that foundation. So, like I said, I just want to give him my guy shout out. The next topic I had on my list for the podcast was last week's craft fair. So, how did we do? I feel like it was decent. And the reason I say it was decent is because I have a spreadsheet on my phone, right, called the Super Candle spreadsheet. And it pretty much tells us how much we average per craft fair, like every single craft fair, right? The last time I checked it earlier in the year, it was $612. So that was the amount that we kind of use as a barometer for how well we're doing. Our net sales per day is $547, right? That's what it's been. So we did higher than our average. At the time, we thought it was 612, but as we see now, it's 547. But I do want to check that later. But it's probably accurate. We average $547 per craft fair. That's net sales, right? And it's like this weekend we did close to 1,200. However, for all the people who are in, e-commerce, or they're selling something, or you're in the product business, or you have candles, we were doing okay. Like on Saturday, we sold like some perfumes, we sold room sprays, we sold candles, and some of them sales came at the end of the day, right before we were about to leave. The following day, it was slow. Like, it was very, very slow. And we were just like, damn, we have to figure out a way to make more money. And we were just kind of sitting down having this conversation. And I was just like, if we wanted to make $400, right, we would have to sell 10 big candles, roughly. Let's call it 11 big candles. To 10 for the round, for easy numbers. We have to sell 10 big candles to get $400, right? If we wanted to get $400 and we only sold the small candles, we'd have to sell 26 candles. Like 26 sales would get us to $400 of the small candle. 10 big candles get us to $400. Honestly, I'm curious about that number. I want to know, how many sales do we do on average? Like, how many transactions do we do on average? Okay, so according to this, we do an average of 22 sales per day, per craft fair, right? We wouldn't even be making $400 a day if we were only selling big candles on average, because they're $15. So times that 22 number, we'd be at $330. And I'm like, that's a lot of sales. Like a good day is like 20, an okay day is like 25 to 30 sales. A good day is like 30 sales to maybe 35, 40 sales. A great day is anything over 40 sales in a day, 40, 50 sales, right? In one day. So I want to try something, right? I'm like, merchandising is very important. For those who do not know, it's just kind of how you set up your table or your booth. That is what is considered merchandising. I started thinking to myself, people come to the booth and we have a new setup sort of where we will put the big candles on the table, right? People come to the table and they'll go, oh, I like this candle. It smells good. I want to buy it. How much is it? We go $39. We say, hey, this candle burns for 80 hours. It's $39. This candle burns for 20 hours and it's $15, right? They go, oh, you have smaller versions of these? I didn't even know that. So that means that they're coming to the table without the intention of buying a small candle. They're in their mind, they're only thinking about buying the big candle. And we go, okay, cool. So we've noticed that trend when it comes to selling candles. And I'm like, you know what? It's so slow in here. I want to try something different. So I'm like, I'm going to remove the small candles from the table just to see what happens. If someone asks us, do you have a smaller candle? We go, yeah, we have a travel size right here. I got you, right? So I removed the small candles from the table. I'm telling you, probably within 12 minutes, maybe not even 12 minutes, some people came over. This guy bought 2 big candles. 2, right? It was $85 for those 2 candles with tax. Somebody he was with got a big candle. And we were just kind of like in shock. Because up to that point, I think we had did 17 sales, right? Give or take, some big candles were in there too. But we weren't selling that many big candles. For us to then sell 3 big candles in a row, back to back to back, is crazy. And we just kind of like, oh my goodness. So at this point, because we know we sell so many of the small candles, we don't even have the bags packed yet. So now Melissa in the back, she's packing up the big bags for the candles, and we're just kind of looking at each other like this. Like while she's packing, I'm looking at her like, this is crazy. The day goes on. Mind you, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock. The day goes on. We get 2, 3, 4 more big candle sales, and we're like, what on? We're like, okay, obviously, this is a sign that we need to figure out how to make more money per transaction, because making our average transaction like $15 or roughly around that, $15 to $18. There's a quote, it might be from Alex Hormozy, that's where I heard it from, but he has said it takes the same amount of energy to sell something for $1 million that it will take to sell something for $100 or $10, right? It's just, you more or less doing the same thing. You're building rapport. You're explaining to the person how the thing can help them and how it benefits them. You're hearing their pain points. You're solving their problems, and you're informing them about how this would help them. That's more or less it. And at that point, you either sell a house, you could sell a candle, you could sell a car, you could sell a business, but that's more or less it, right? Now, one thing we've noticed from doing that on Sunday, I think people care more about the benefits when the price of the product is higher. Because a lot of times we'll talk about the product, right? And people just kind of ignore it. Like, oh, okay, well, it's 15. Like in their mind, they think this is $15. So I don't really care what the price is. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to like it. Or I'm not going to like it. I'm supporting you. $15 here. It's not going to really kill my pocket, whatever. That's how they're looking at it. When they're spending more money for the product, and now they kind of have to justify in their mind, like, why am I spending $40 on this candle? And that's when they go, now their mind is kind of ready for an explanation as to why. And I'm like, hey, this candle is non-toxic. It's made of beeswax. It's going to purify the air in your home. It's going to smell great. It's going to last a long time, right? Now they're like, oh, that makes sense why it's $40. You know what? Let me get 2 of those. Right? That's how they operate now. Before, it's like, all right, so this candle's non-toxic, it's beeswax, blah, blah, blah. They're just completely tuning it out. Because they're like, you're talking about a product that is, like, it's bubble. Like, no one is selling you hard on bubble gum. Like, you don't go into a deli and he's like, man, this is the best bubble gum you're ever going to have in your life. Because, like, how much it costs? $1? Let me get one. Let me get one of those. Like, you don't care because the price isn't high. And in your brain, you don't have to justify buying it. So I noticed that during Sunday. So now going forward, we're going to try just not having the big candles out and just not having the small candles out, and just seeing how much more we do, because at this point we can get 3 more for every big candle. That's 3 small candles. And I've been thinking about that, right? I'm like, okay, if we're here for 8 hours and we sell 1 big candle a day, 1 big candle an hour, that's 8 big candles for the day. That's 8 sales. That means we would have to do 24 sales, which is 3 candles per hour consistently for the whole day to equal selling 8 big candles. So, that's some business stuff. This is why I love business because it's such an organic thing and it's always growing and it's always challenging me as a person to try and understand myself, understand other people better. And I just think having a business forces people to grow. And I was having this convo with Torrie yesterday where if you are the kind of person who's very extroverted, right? You're a very spoken person, you're very out there going, whatever. Your business will make you have to learn the other side of that. If you want to grow your business, you will have to learn how to either deal with introverted people or how to curb your extrovertness, right? And the same goes for somebody who's introverted. If you're an introvert, at some point, you can only get so far being introvert. You have to learn why extroverts act the way they act, how it affects you and your business, how you can sell to an extrovert. Like, these are things that come as you are growing your business. And once you hit that constraint, then your business just stops growing. You just can't grow anymore. Like, let's say, for example, you want to raise money, but you have to go to events to raise it. If you don't talk to people, they're not going to want to give you money. So it don't really work. If you're an extrovert, right, you may now have to deal with introverts in your company differently because of how they operate. So if you want to grow your business, it's just like growing yourself. And that's one thing I really love about having a business. Now, one thing I don't like about having a business is the constant dodging of unscrupulous activities. That's what I'll call it, right? I think the house situation has hardened me to some degree. Between the house and dealing with people who poo on the candles, I have gotten I wouldn't even call it thicker skin. I usually don't respond to anything. I'm like, for the most part, I'm like, I don't really care. But, and this is why I said earlier about having a business now challenges me. Once I realize or I feel like somebody's doing something wrong, I'm like, you know what? I could just cut you off, because my life will go on. Your life will go on. We'll never talk again. It's not going to change my life. It's not going to change your life. And for me to even care if it does change your life is already a problem. So it's like, I could just really just stop talking to a person and that's it. But it's only so many times you can do that in different scenarios because it still affects you or affects me. So an example of that is yesterday, right? Some of y'all may know that we've been trying to get these new candles at a better cost. I figure, you know what would be the best idea? I actually gotta call them today too. I figured it'd be a great idea for us to, I gotta call them in like an hour. To buy the like hard materials such as the vessels and the bags and things like that overseas, because it will be less expensive. That's what I thought. And so they told me. The big vessels, the medium vessels, cost $660, right? Let's say 600 to make it an easier number to remember. The person told me that if I wanted to have it shipped by boat, it would be less expensive than if I got it shipped by plane. I said, okay, I love that. Thank you. That's great. I love it. Just yesterday, we got the invoice for all the fees to ship by boat, the warehouse fees, the broker fees, the customs fees, ISF fees, paperwork fees, messenger fees, right? The vessels themselves cost $600. All the fees that we were told yesterday for this combined is $1,800. Excuse me, $1,900. They told me it would be $300 to ship these vessels. So that means that instead of it being $900 total, it is now $2,500 total. And I'm like, there's no way that this is the cost for shipping these vessels. There's no way. I do not believe it. So I called up the broker and I'm just like, you know, like I said, my skin, or at least my empathy, has decreased after dealing with different people in regards to the candles and in regards to the contract at the house. I'm like, listen, you gotta explain these fees to me, because there ain't no way you trying to tell me it's $1,800. And I'm also thinking about all the times I've watched different shows on TV. She's trying to tell me, oh, these are normal fees that I always see. I'm like, ma'am, I literally just called the warehouse the other day, and they told me this fee right here only applies to if it's a pickup. She's like, no, I've been doing this for 10 years and I've never seen no one waive the fee in my entire life. And I'm like, normally, like I said, at least last 2 years ago, I'd have been like, well, you do this, I don't, I'm gonna take your word for it, right? I don't even know if she's telling the truth, but I don't care. I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe you at all. So now we going through each item on this invoice. Why we get to one of the items that go, I think it's the custom duty fees, $367, right? I said, can you explain these two to me? What's these fees for? She goes, oh, that's a typo. I'm so sorry. It's supposed to be a 1, not a 3. So instead of it being 367, it should be 167. I'm gonna change that right now, send it over to you. I'm like, so if I would have just went along and paid this, you telling me I would have had to pay for $200 for no reason at all? And you already know she was not going to email me back and say, I'm so sorry, we accidentally charged you $200 extra. How can we send it back to you? That was not happening. It wasn't going to happen. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Tomorrow, which is today, I'm calling the warehouse to figure out what's going on, because the person I talked about just now, they're the broker. So they're supposed to do this whole transaction for me, because like I said, I don't really know. This is my first time doing this. So I figured it'd be better to have a broker do it for me. Obviously, it seems like it's just a scam. And like I was about to say before, I've seen a lot of different shows where they talk about all the scandals that come up with dealing with shipping containers and dealing with ports. And honestly, it's a very similar situation to construction. They are usually at least by the movies and how the shows say, they are usually commandeered by some underground entity, right? Why they choose those? Probably because they know they can just charge a bunch of fees for no reason. There's not really a market price for them. And honestly, these kind of things go back so far. That's probably why there's so much fraud. Is that why? Would it be more fraud for an older thing or a newer thing? It's hard to say. I feel like an older thing would have the same fraud because it's been around for so long. And I feel like the newer thing would have more fraud because we don't really know how to deal with it. So I think crypto will be like a new fraud, and construction and port related activities would be an old fraud. But you think about people like the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, oil. If I guarantee, if I tried to buy some type of oil or get into the oil business, it would probably be scams up the wazoo. They'd be overcharging me for everything. Who I'm gonna go to and talk to about it? Who I'm gonna say, hey, and report them? Come on. So I think they tried the same thing with the port. So I think that's something. I'm hoping to get that price down, because if we can't, we don't really have the money for that, to pay that. There's nowhere to get that money to pay that extra 19, at least I guess now it's $1,700. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But speaking of money, we did finally get the marketing loan. Finally. Oh my goodness. So they finally gave us this marketing loan, right? It's $2,400. It got deposited into our account this morning. And I think it's very important for me to know myself. I think it's very important to know my own tendencies and to know what my vices are and what my shortcomings are. I think it's very important to know that. So when it came to the marketing loan, right? From before we even got the money, Melissa and I had a conversation, and I'm like, listen, what plan do you have for the money? Because I already know once the money comes into the account, my brain is going to want to spend it on things that make us more money to cover our expenses. That's what my brain's going to want to do, right? If we have to buy wax for the upcoming fair and we have $2,500 in our account, I'm going to buy wax. Like, it doesn't make sense to not buy the wax and spend it on marketing, which is a thing we don't have experience in, and then not have the wax for the weekend where we're going to make money. My brain can't rationalize that. And I'm going to just be, it doesn't make any sense. We need money. We don't have it. We need materials. We don't have it, but we have the money to buy the material and we won't do it. That's crazy. So I'm like, I know myself. So I'm like, okay. Me know myself like this. Melissa, what do you think about this? What ideas do you have? Because I already know it's gonna happen. So the plan we came up with was to only spend $500 or the amount of money that we know we'll make at the craft fair. Right? That's it. That's the only money we can. So if we can't pull it out from one day at the craft fair, then we shouldn't be taking it out of the marketing loan. We're also going to be using the money to pay for ads. That's kind of the thing that we talked about. So yeah, I know me. My brain is always on scale. How do I scale up? How do I make more money? How do we get more? I need more. We need the foundational money. Once we have that, it's easy to build from. At least in my mind, I think it's easier for me to build from that situation. Now, I was talking to my guy in the Discord, shout out to my guy Torrie, and he said when he went to the convention, or I don't know if we call it convention, I'm not sure what they would call it, but pretty much what they were teaching about how to be a developer and how to, build houses from the ground up. They had a person that was there that knows credit repair. And I've been telling y'all for the longest time, right? And I know y'all gonna get this wrong when I say it again. Maybe I'll add some context for the people that enjoy and love credit. Caring about credit is not as important as people have told you it is. It's a score that can be easily manipulated. There we go. The score doesn't have much weight to me because it doesn't really hold value in the sense of it doesn't mean anything. All it means is you more or less played the credit game, right? And people who are outside of consumers, especially business owners, especially entrepreneurs, especially people who are broke, understand how irrelevant credit is. Like the credit score is, right? Torrie is buying property with almost no credit. Well, his credit's better now, but they're not asking for credit. They don't need that. They like, how much money you gonna make from this house? Here's money from me, I'll give it to you. This woman that he put me on to, she is gonna be able to raise our credit, right? Now, y'all know we've been talking about credit repair for a little bit now, because even though I don't care about credit, it is another tool that we can use, right? So what I mean by that is credit doesn't have any weight on me. Like, I don't make my decision based off like, oh my God, my credit score is going to go down. I don't want to do this, because it doesn't matter. I can just pay someone to bring it back up very easily, right? So she was saying that she knows someone, because I always ask this question and they never answer it. They never want to answer this question. And I'm just like, all right, it's one of those things I don't want to talk about, whatever. But I always ask, how long is it going to take to get my credit score up? They always say, I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't give you a number or a date. I have no idea. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You've been doing this for X amount of years. You should have an idea of what are we looking at? Like, honestly, like I said, that should be something I should ask her, because she kept asking me, what is my financial goal? I think I should ask them, what is your goal? What is your goal for my credit? Because they love playing this game of being like, I don't really know when it's going to go up. It's going to go up at some point. But she did say, you know, she gave me an anecdote that it varies, which is okay, understandable. There's a guy that she worked with. She was telling me that if I want, I can sue the credit bureaus if they don't remove certain inquiries or certain marks from my credit. So they said they're going to try for like 2 or 3 weeks themselves. And then if I want, I can either keep going or take them to court. She said this particular guy waited like 2 weeks. It wasn't working, so I'm going to court. Take him to court right now. His score went from 500 to 800 by doing that. And I was like, wow. Because here is the goal that we have, right? And we're going to say this all the time. People who have even gotten this far in the podcast, maybe out here for the first time, who knows? Our business requires a lot of capital. We have the business is profitable. We don't have an issue with making money with the business, right? And I get this vibe that people feel like it's not profitable, right? That's the vibe I get. However, all the money that we make, we put it back into the candles. Other than buying groceries, which sometimes we don't even do. Because it's like, okay, a new fair came up and they want us to pay $200. Let's pay for that so we can make $600 on that day, right? That's how my brain operates. So the business itself is a very healthy business. The only problem is we don't have the money to grow it at the scale that we know we can grow it at. So here's an example, right? This is for people who are new to the podcast. There's a market called Chelsea Market, right? It's $1,500 per week. If we do that market, we're probably going to make between around $3,000 for that week to maybe like $5,000. That's what we've done in the past, right? $3,000 to $5,000. If we're doing $3,000 per week, that's the lowest that we've done in that fair. That's $12,000 per month, right? The influx of cash that we get from that, we can then use to pay for a bigger fair. We can then use it to put into marketing dollars or put into hiring someone to edit the videos to give us more time to work on content, or for us to work on other things, like even building out the wholesale part of the business. Those things come when we have injection of money. So this particular credit repair person, she could be blow smoke up my ass, right? She could be a good smoke blower asser, right? she asked me, what is my financial goal? And I said, Miss, listen, I just want to get my score to 600 because Honeycomb Credit gave us more or less an offer and said, if your score is at this number, we will bring you on the platform where you will be able to raise minimum $25,000. 25K minimum. But people on there who was raising 100, 200, 300K on there. This is like, think of, I won't say GoFundMe. Let's use that. Think of GoFundMe or Indiegogo or even Kiva if y'all know about that one. The difference between this one and those is the people that are on the platforms have money because they're running a business. These people mostly are in the business space, so they're more likely to have money than people who are just regular consumers who want to only put $10 in or $25 in. These people are more likely to put in $100, $1,000, $500. And they're a business person, so they kind of understand like, oh, the plight of starting your business. Let me help. I told her this. She laughed. She was like, what? No. We don't do anything less than mid 700s here. I was like, sure. I'm like, that's cool. She's like, no. Like 600 is like, I'm like, I get you. I understand. She's like, nah, you obviously don't. I'm just like, okay, tell me then. Tell me what I don't. She's like, listen, we're going to get you 100K in credit. Easily. She was like, if that's personal credit. If you're doing business credit, we're going to get you 200K in business credit. And I'm like, sure. I'm like, it sounds nice, but here's the caveat. This is the caveat. And this is what I learned from the house. I'm choosing to go with her because she comes recommended from Torrie, who is already doing his thing. As opposed to before, it's finding a random person online. I'm talking about the contractor, going off of reviews, which we did found out was fake because he ended up trying to use our house as a review on Google, even though we never left that review for his business. But, you know, again, whole other story that we have already touched on in the past. So she's saying she can get our score to 700, 750, whatever the case might be. And I'm like, ma'am, if you could get me 10, 20, 30, any money, we could make more money from it. She like, listen, I'm gonna get you 100, 200K. And I'm like, all right, if we get that by the end of the year, I'm satisfied. 2 months, we will be in August. 3 months, we will be in, we will be in September. Honestly, September, October, November, and December, that's 4 months that we would have to spend that money. That was when we made our most money last year, was in those months. So we're going to see how much money we could possibly get from her. So the reason I'm bringing this up in relation to the money that we got as a marketing loan is obviously this service is not free. It's a charge for the service. It's $1,500 for the service. $1,500. Now my brain obviously is going, listen, you're going to make money. You're going to get credit. You're going to have access to money. It's worth it. So she has a payment plan, obviously, which is what I'm going to go with, or which I went with, where it's $500 and of like 3 payments. I'm like, all right, cool. I could do that. Like, that's a lot more manageable for where we're at right now instead of spending the full $1,500. I hope they sent out my damn wax. I'll be mad if she didn't. I gotta go out there and pick it up. I'll be so upset. So yeah, out of the $2,500, I spent $500 on just that installment so we can get this process going, because we kind of had this on as a side quest from earlier in the year to improve our credit. Here comes a golden goose, and we're gonna absolutely utilize this. She has some people or reviews of clients that have gotten 200K in funding from her. Torrie, she comes highly recommended from Torrie, and I'm like, listen, the house situation taught me, remove the risk and the downside, or decrease the risk and downside. So one way of doing that is by going with a person that was referred to me by someone I trust, and someone that has also utilized that person, and someone that's doing well. Because I've had in the past people refer me or recommend me to do something, even though they have not done the thing themselves. They did not do the thing that they are not doing the thing. They're not doing that thing that they told me to do, and they're not doing well in that space. And those are people that will tell me how to do a thing. But again, because they're doing better than I am in the space, I listen. But to reduce risk, I'm looking for people who are doing well in the space, who have experience in the space, and have utilized the person or thing that they have told me to use and try. So, like I said, I think for me, that's my big takeaway from the house. It's just one thing. And then the last topic I kind of want to touch on today was the framework that we spoke on last week, which was optimizing for time or optimizing for money. I think one thing I want to add to that is optimizing for productivity, because I don't think that falls into those two categories. I don't think optimizing for money means that you will make more money with less work. I don't think it means that. So yes, I think that's one thing I really want to work on. The reason I'm saying that is because I want to start using the storage unit as an office to get work done. And to me, that doesn't increase money, it doesn't increase time, but it does increase the amount of work I get done. And that's why I felt like it doesn't fall into one of those buckets of time versus money. It's a productivity thing. So a lot of times, like I said, now my brain is focusing on trying to make decisions out of those three different frameworks. And still been holding strong. Still been having some good responses in terms of, I call it universe responses, like me doing a thing and me getting the proper thing back. And actually, I did forget one other thing I want to talk about. It's a little bit shorter than that. The bag. Oh, actually, it's two things. Okay, my bad. My bad. The bags came in. So we have velvet bags. Those velvet bags were purchased so that we don't have, not me or we, but so Melissa does not have to wrap the candles anymore. So what we've been doing recently for the last maybe like month or so is wrapping them with tissue paper, like the pink and white one when somebody buys it. But we wanted to have we wanted to be branded. So now when you buy a big candle, it comes in a velvet bag. And I think I'll show one of our bags here. I got you. So this is one of the bags. Here it is. Look at this. It's the Ember Candle Co. velvet bag for our signature size candle. It saves us a lot of time. It saves us, it don't really save us money, but the time that it takes to wrap a lot of large candles is honestly ridiculous. So if we, now that we have 8 cents, we're bringing about 40 candles to the fair. That's a lot. That's a lot of candles to be bringing to the fair. So that means we have to wrap 40 every single time, and that's if it's just a regular day. With this, just throw them in the bag. Here you go. Here's your new candle. And when they go home with it, they want to unwrap it, take it out. They go, oh my God, it's in velvet. Ooh, this is so nice. And it has the candle brand on it, so now they can find us. Because a lot of time, listen, we realized from the day 1 or day 5, people were not rebuying candles because they couldn't find us, and the candles last so long. We had somebody recently whose candle, she said she bought a small candle in like September or October or something like that. She still has it, and it's like, damn, like, so. And then also the duplicate fragrances that we have some custom fragrances made so that we don't have to spend as much money on these expensive ass fragrances. And listen, the goal is the same: get the cost down, get the revenue up. That's it. So the cost of some of these fragrance oils for one bottle, 16 ounces, is $90. $90 for these, with shipping and everything else, $100+ for these things, right? If we can get the whole bottle down to $20 and get more in it, listen, we going crazy. That means that now, and this is my real reason for wanting to do this. What's killing us is having to rebuy inventory every Monday. We had a great weekend the last 2 weekends, not the last two before that. And the money was gone on Monday because we had to buy wax for $300. We had to buy vessels for $200. We had to buy fragrance oil for another $300-$400. And it's like, damn, like the money gone. And it's like, we can't have to do that every single week, because now that we have more products, if we sell one candle or 3 candles, right, of 1 cent, I can't buy 3 vessels because it wouldn't be cost effective. So I have to now buy 12 or 24 of them to replenish those 3, right? That costs money. And depending on when it comes, if they even have it in stock, I have to either pay for expedited shipping, which is another $100, $200, or I have to buy 200 or 100 whatever vessels. So consistency and peace is what I'm going for. I want to go into the warehouse or the storage unit, pick up the vessels, pick up the wax, pick up whatever we need, make the candle, bring it to the fair. I don't want to be dealing with these suppliers who don't have the product when we need it, who are sending it late, it's coming later than it's supposed to, it's broken, all the different things, and it's expensive. I don't want to deal with that no more. So the last thing that we have right now to purchase, I guess it's kind of 2 things. The medium vessels, what they try to charge us almost $2,000 for, and we have to buy the large vessels to have them actually shipped out here. I'm doing door to door by plane, never doing boat again. We will be back here next Tuesday, probably Wednesday now. We're doing it on Wednesdays. You can find all the behind the scenes content on social medias. Mine is Donovan Gray, DONIVANGRAY, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. You know what it is, hashtag Bamboo Project 2023. The road is not done yet. Okay, it's still rolling. Now with that being said, Bamboo Project